All right, now it's time to go inside the locker room. And for this show, we bring in Chris Whitlick from our sister station, CBS 4 in Indianapolis. Chris, you've been covering the Colts for a long time. What makes Saturday night so unique, so special? What's the vibe in and around the city and at Colts practice this week?
Well, Maury, thanks for having me on. And realistically, this is probably the biggest Colts home game in between 5 and 10 years. Honestly, the stakes are that high. They haven't had a home playoff game in a while. They'd like to get to the playoffs, obviously. And facing the evil empire, as the Colts fans like to say, the New England Patriots, had a chance to finally beat them. Maury, it's been since 2009 since the Colts beat the Patriots. 8 losses since then to Bill Belichick. And they think they finally have the team maybe to get it done with a good running game and a pretty solid defense. So the feeling around the team at practice this week is the focus is there. They know what the stakes are. Head coach Frank Reich is calling this Judgment Day for his football team. He knows what's at stake.
Yeah, 2 teams that have had so much success in the AFC. First time these teams meet without Peyton Manning on one side or Tom Brady on the other since Week 14 of 1997. Do you think this game starts a new chapter in the rivalry that is the Colts and Patriots?
I don't know. That's a very good question. It's the first time Frank Reich will face Bill Belichick and the Patriots as a head coach. Remember, he was the coordinator with the Eagles when they knocked off the Patriots in the Super Bowl. He had Carson Wentz then. The two of them are back together with the Colts. I know Bill Belichick brought that up this week, that their offense hasn't changed much over the last couple of years, even though Frank Reich has changed quarterbacks every single year. But as for that rivalry, Mac Jones, Carson Wentz, I don't know. The rivalry is still pretty heated as far as the fans are concerned, but it hasn't been an even playing field for the last 10 years or so. So it's been all Patriots. And really, I think you need the Colts to win a handful of games for this rivalry to grow. The most interesting thing is, though, the Pats there are at the number 1 seed right now, and the Colts are in a pretty good position in at number 6. And looking forward beyond this year, I think they've got the squad to be a Super Bowl contender here in the near future. So potentially this can regrow this animosity maybe between the teams and the fan bases.
How much is Josh McDaniels still talked about in and around the city of Indianapolis? It wasn't all that long ago that he left the Colts at the altar.
Not much anymore. I know Colts fans are pretty happy with the way this turned out. He stepped away. Frank Reich stepped in, and the Colts have done a pretty good job of building this team behind their head coach, who everyone calls a quarterback whisperer. So we all know Josh McDaniels is a great offensive play caller, too. He's done such a good job for the Patriots for a very long time. Probably would have been successful here, too, if he had the right quarterback with him. But Frank Reich has come in, and I think a lot of those folks have forgotten about McDaniels and are probably pleased it turned out the way it did.
Let's dive into the game plan real quick, Chris. On both sides of the ball for the Colts, how do you think they go about attacking the Patriots?
Well, offensively, they got to go with their bread and butter. Jonathan Taylor, who leads the NFL in rushing, his numbers are pretty interesting. Once he tops 100 yards for the game, the Colts are undefeated, 7-0. If he doesn't get to that magic 100-yard mark rushing, they're 0-6. So they're going to push Jonathan Taylor and establish him for certain. Of course, we all know what Bill Belichick does. He likes to take away the team's biggest weapon. That's Taylor at this point. If that happens, the Colts are ready to throw the ball and get it to their tight ends, maybe hit Pittman and T.Y. Hilton. Hilton came out this week and told us Bill Belichick is a guy like, if you're shooting right-handed, he'll make you shoot left-handed. He does something complete opposite of what you're expecting. So expect the unexpected with the Patriots. But again, the Colts are going to have to establish that run. They tried to do this interestingly enough against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a few weeks ago. They were stonewalled, so they ended up throwing 26 consecutive passes. Fans were not too happy about that, but they had an opportunity to win if they didn't turn the ball over enough. So the Colts are multifaceted enough to be able to attack the Patriots, but they got to establish Jonathan Taylor first.
Is the feeling that the Colts are among one of the best teams in the AFC, and if they beat the Patriots, they feel like they belong in that top tier?
Absolutely. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The problem with the Colts, they've been in every single game, especially against the good teams, but they haven't been able to close against the key contest. The Tampa Bay, they had that lead in the fourth quarter. The Ravens, they had a big lead in Baltimore, couldn't get that done. They were up 2 touchdowns on the Tennessee Titans here in Indianapolis, couldn't finish that one. So they know they can play toe-to-toe. The confidence is there, but they've got to learn how to close. They were able to do that against the Buffalo Bills. They steamrolled Buffalo up there in Western New York. So the confidence is there. And absolutely, I think if they win this game, they'll be among the elite in the AFC. And at 8-6, I think they've got a great chance to make the playoffs. And it's a scramble there in the AFC. I think everyone realistically has a chance. If you make that playoffs, you got a realistic chance of getting to the Super Bowl.